The late afternoon sun blazed down on Mexico City, a melting pot of ambition and disparity, where glass skyscrapers loomed over the streets like silent witnesses to a relentless chase for success. In a sleek boardroom on the 35th floor, Marcus Herrera sat facing the towering windows, beads of sweat forming at his hairline. He was on the verge of sealing a $900 million deal that could elevate his tech company to new heights. The air, thick with tension, seemed to beat like a heart in overdrive. But then, just as Marcus was about to raise his glass in a toast, his phone rang. The elevated ringtone felt jarring, slicing through the exhilaration in the ring. He glanced down. It was his sister, Maria. A sudden gnawing fear gripped him. He answered, trying to mask the dread creeping into his voice. "Marcus, it's about Mom." Maria's voice trembled, breaking the news like glass shattering on. Doña Carmen, his fierce and loving mother, had been humiliated by the Bautista family, sophisticated, wealthy, and profoundly white. They had belittled her at a charity event, treating her with thinly veiled disdain. No words could capture the betrayal Marcus felt. Memories flooded back, raw and poignant. Long nights his mother worked tirelessly, saving every peso, enduring the subtle and blatant racism that etched itself into their lives. He closed his eyes, feeling the lump rise in his throat. Shocked whispers cascaded through the boardroom. His colleagues, oblivious to the emotional storm brewing inside him, leaned in to hear the latest insider gossip about the Bautistas. But Marcus wasn't listening. Everything faded into a hazy blur, the towering glass buildings appearing like ominous giants glaring down. "Mom needs you, Marcus," Maria urged, her voice charged with urgency. He could feel eyes on him, curious, judging, waiting for him to respond. Should he swallow the poison of this deal, which promised to change everything? Or should he stand up for his mother, for their dignity? His heart raced. He thought of her face, worn yet proud, of her laughter that echoed through the ages, echoing love and strength. With every beat of his heart, his resolve tightened. "I'm calling it off," he said, voice steady despite the chaos inside him. Gasps. A collective shockwave rippled through the boardroom. Marcus could see the tension in the room shift, the disbelief shattering like his own heart. An uncertainty weighed down the space, thick as smoke. But it wasn't just the financial stakes he stepped away from. Suddenly, Elena Bautista, daughter of the billion-dollar dynasty and Marcus's former love, shifted nervously in her seat. Uncertainty flashed in her eyes, one caught between family loyalty and newfound conviction that her family hid secrets darker than she ever imagined. Just as the weight of his decision settled in, his phone buzzed again. An anonymous message slipped onto the screen, words that sent a chill down his spine. "Watch your back, Marcus. This isn't over." He inhaled sharply. The city outside rumbled with life, indifferent to the storm brewing within him. In that moment, he knew he was not just fighting for a deal, but for his mother's dignity, and against forces he didn't fully understand yet. The evening in Mexico City loomed, heavy and electric. What sacrifices would proceed from this defiant act? What retributions awaited him in the shadows? The uncertain path ahead lay thick with secrets, betrayals, and history yet to unfold. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming up. And while you're here, hit that powerful like that helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, from which city are you watching this? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The phone buzzed again, the sound piercing the silence that had fallen in the boardroom. Marcus stared at the anonymous message, heart racing, the weight of his decision pressing on him like a crushing tide. He wanted to push the phone away, to focus on his mother and the impact of the Bautista family's arrogance, but another vibration pulled him from his thoughts. "Marcus?" Elena's voice cut through the haze. "Are you sure? This could ruin everything." Her concern felt like a lifeline, but he could also sense the underlying tension, the fear of what might come next. He opened his mouth to respond, but the words stuck in his throat. Just then, a security guard burst into the boardroom, eyes wide, almost panic-stricken. "Mr. Herrera, you need to come with me now." The urgency in his voice jolted Marcus from his reverie. "What's going on?" "There's been an incident downstairs." The guard glanced at the others, then back to Marcus. "It's your mother." For a moment, the world tilted on its axis. His stomach dropped. "What do you mean? Is she okay?" "Just come." The man grabbed Marcus's arm, yanking him toward the door. The boardroom erupted into whispers, the disbelief palpable, but Marcus couldn't focus on them. He sprinted down the stairs, past shocked faces, his heart pounding in synchrony with blood roaring in his ears. He reached the lobby and froze. The scene that met him was both chaotic and surreal. A crowd had gathered, murmuring, pointing. In the middle of it all stood Doña Carmen, her expression fierce but teetering on the edge of despair. But she was not alone. Beside her, standing tall, was none other than Javier Bautista, Elena's father, and the patriarch of the family that had disrespected her. They were arguing, and the words shot through the air like arrows. "I can't believe you'd stoop so low," Doña Carmen spat, her voice shaking with indignation. Then from somewhere in the crowd, a figure emerged. It was Maria, her face ghostly pale, eyes wide as if she had seen a ghost. "Mama!" she screamed, rushing through the bystanders. Marcus's heart stopped. Why was Maria there? And why was Javier Bautista face to face with their mother, looking furious yet strangely conflicted? Suddenly, the unthinkable happened. A voice rang loud from the back of the crowd, cutting through the tension like a sword. "She's lying!" It was Elena stepping into view, her face contorted with an expression that flickered between anger and pain. "She knows what happened that night." Every eye turned towards her. The tension tightened. Marcus's limbs turned cold. "What night?" he whispered, stepping closer. "Mom," Maria murmured, the panic in her voice escalating. "What is she talking about?" Elena's eyes darted between Marcus and her father. "You have to know the truth." She inhaled sharply, her voice faltering. "You're not who you think you are, Marcus." A chilling silence enveloped them. The weight of her words lingered in the air, thick and electric. "Do you mean?" he started, but the words died. His mind swirled, and the awful realization struck like a hammer. Secrets wrapped in layers of betrayal, family ties twisted and mangled. Everything he thought he knew was crumbling. "What truth?" he asked again, voice trembling. But Elena's gaze held fierce determination. Time to uncover everything. And just like that, the fabric of his reality imploded. As the evening sun dipped into the horizon, painting the sky in hues of crimson, Marcus realized he stood on the edge of an abyss, teetering between past and present. The night was far from over, and shadows loomed, whispering of secrets yet to be revealed. What lay ahead would change everything. What was the truth? And how far would they go to uncover it? The weight of Elena's words hung in the air like a thick fog. "You're not who you think you are, Marcus." Those words echoed, pulling him deeper into the storm swirling around him. He opened his mouth to speak, but no sound came. The crowd seemed to fade. All he could hear was the frantic beating of his heart. Could it be? The truth felt like a chasm opening beneath his feet. "What do you mean?" Maria's voice trembled beside him, a blend of confusion and fear. Elena took a step forward. "Your mother knows everything. The truth is buried. But it's time you found it out." Her tone was urgent, almost desperate. Javier, still standing next to Doña Carmen, looked furious. But there was something else in his eyes, a flicker of regret. It sparked a newfound rage in Marcus. How could this man, who had humiliated his mother, hold any claim over this truth? "Mom," he shouted, but his voice cracked. "What truth, Carmen? What is she talking about?" Doña Carmen's eyes darted between her children and the Bautista patriarch. Her expression was a mix of anger and fear. "You can't." Before she could finish, a commotion erupted. A man in a black suit shoved through the crowd, his expression wild. "Stop! Everyone, stop!" he shouted, waving his hands. Panic rippled through the onlookers. Who was he? The tension in the air thickened. Marcus felt a rush of protective instinct surge within him. "What's happening?" Marcus yelled. "This is about you, Herrera." The man's voice boomed through the lobby. "About the deal, about everything." Eyes shifted to Marcus. He felt every gaze piercing through him. Sweat dripped from his temples. "What do you mean?" he demanded, trying to carve a path through the chaos. The man took a deep breath, stepping closer. "Your mother is not just some woman from the barrio. She's connected to the Bautista family in ways you can't begin to understand." Marcus's stomach twisted. "What are you saying?" "The Bautistas, they're not just your rivals. They're part of your family." The words were a thunderclap, shaking the foundation of everything Marcus thought he knew. Elena's face drained of color. "No, that can't be." But the man continued. "Carmen was never just Doña Carmen. She was once part of a deal that tied your families together, long before you were born. There are loyalties and debts that span generations." A ripple of disbelief washed over the crowd, whispers rising like smoke from a fire. Marcus felt his chest constrict. What? How is this even possible? His mind raced, trying to grasp the implications of those words. But before he could process another thought, a piercing scream cut through the air, freezing him in place. It was Maria. "Mama!" she cried, her eyes wide with horror. Doña Carmen was collapsing, clutching her chest. Panic ignited. People surged forward, but Marcus pushed through, heart hammering. "Mom, no!" He knelt beside her, cradling her head. Her eyes fluttered, confusion and pain etched into her features. "Marcus, I didn't want you to know," she gasped, her breath shallow, struggling against the weight of the revelation. "Stay with me, Mom, please." As he held her, the world around him fractured. The truth was unraveling, and time twisted into a tight coil of fear and urgency. What did she mean? What else had she hidden? Elena stepped closer, her own fear palpable. "We need to help her, Marcus." But beneath the layers of chaos, he felt something shifting, the lines of family, loyalty, and fear blurring away. In that moment, everything changed. As Marcus looked into his mother's eyes, he realized that the truth was a beast waiting to be unleashed, a beast that could tear apart their lives. With shaky hands, he whispered, "What's the truth, Mom? What do we need to uncover?" As the crowd faded into the background, everything hung in the balance. The night loomed heavy with unanswered questions, and shadows whispered promises of chaos yet to come. Marcus held his mother tightly, heart racing, the chaos of the crowd fading into a dull roar. "What's the truth, Mom?" he asked again, desperate for clarity. Her eyes shone with fear and something else, regret. Doña Carmen struggled to breathe. "Not now, mi hijo. You must." "Mom, please, I need to know." His grip tightened as he looked around, his heart pounding louder than the murmurs of the onlookers. Suddenly, an intense light flared in the lobby, bright, blinding. Marcus shielded his eyes, the crowd's whispers turning into gasps. The source of the light came from the man in the black suit, who now knelt beside them, his hands glowing with an iridescent pulse. Faces in the crowd twisted into expressions of confusion and alarm. "Step back," he shouted, voice booming with authority. "This is beyond all of you." "What the hell is happening?" Marcus yelled, the desperation in his voice slicing through the confusion. The man glanced up, his eyes fierce. "This is bigger than money, bigger than family feuds." Elena stepped forward, her face pale but determined. "Who are you?" "I am here to reveal what your families have kept hidden for decades." The man's voice echoed, sending chills through the crowd. "Marcus Herrera, you are not just an ordinary man. You are the key to a power struggle that spans generations." Marcus's mind reeled. "What do you mean? What struggle?" The man's eyes narrowed. "You are the last of a lineage thought to be lost, part of a legacy tied to the Bautista family in a way that goes beyond blood. You carry secrets that could change everything." "Enough!" Javier Bautista shouted, stepping closer, his expression shifting from anger to uncertainty. "I won't let you manipulate my family." But the man didn't falter. "You lost the right to control this narrative long ago, Javier. The truth is already written. It's time for the world to see it." Doña Carmen's eyes widened. "What truth?" she gasped, barely able to speak. And then it happened. The light emanating from the man flared brighter than the sun itself. Shimmering tendrils of energy seemed to envelop Marcus, pulling him closer. "No!" Elena screamed, trying to reach for him, but it was too late. The space around Marcus collapsed, twisting reality itself. He felt a rush, a surge of memories not his own flashing before his eyes. Moments of betrayal, love, and loss shared between families. He could hear voices, his mother's, Elena's, but also whispers of ancestors long gone. As the energy faded, Marcus collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. He looked around in disbelief. The lobby was now transformed. The crowd had shifted, their faces painted with awe and horror. "Did you see it?" the man whispered, his voice urgent. "You are the bridge between the past and the future." A heavy silence enveloped them, broken only by the distant sirens and the whispers of the curious crowd. Exhausted, Marcus turned to his mother, confusion etched into his features. "What is this? What did I see?" "Marcus." Doña Carmen trembled, her expression a mix of fear and something akin to hope. "You must understand, we are part of something greater than just our struggles." Elena moved closer, her eyes filled with an intensity he'd never seen. "You have a choice now, Marcus. Embrace this truth or run from it. But you can't ignore it." As he struggled to process the swirling storm of words and emotions, Marcus felt another surge of energy, but this time it came from within him, a mix of strength and uncertainty. Who was he really? What was he meant to uncover? The weight of the past pressed down on him, and he knew one thing for sure: the consequences of this moment would echo through their lives. As the shadows around him flickered, Marcus looked at the nufus of the crowd. They were waiting, judging, and deep down, he realized the true battle was just beginning. Marcus felt the energy ebbing around him, confusion clawing at his insides. As Doña Carmen's gaze pierced through him, the weight of every unspoken word hung heavy in the air. His heart raced, blood roaring in his ears. "What do you mean?" he repeated, desperation clawing at his throat. Elena stepped back, pulling Maria closer as if shielding them from the coming storm. "We need to get her help," she shouted, panic rippling through her voice. But before anyone could move, an explosive sound shattered the tense silence. A shattering crash echoed from the entrance, making the crowd jump. All heads whipped toward the source, where the glass doors were flung open and a figure burst through. Wild-eyed and frantic, it was an older man, unkempt and breathless. "Get back! We don't have much time!" His voice, cracked and urgent, commanded attention. The crowd buzzed in confusion, many stepping back, unsure of the threat he posed. "Who are you?" Marcus managed to ask, instinctively rising to protect his mother. "My name is Alfredo. You don't know me, but..." He hesitated, locking eyes with Marcus, his expression a mix of dread and desperation. "But you need to know the truth about your mother, the Bautistas, everything. It's worse than you can imagine." "What truth?" Marcus demanded, gripping Doña Carmen tighter as she struggled to breathe, her eyes darting between the man and her children. Alfredo took a deep breath, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "You come from a long line of power, Marcus. Your mother made a pact years ago, thinking it would protect you, but it left her vulnerable, and you were never supposed to be born." "What are you talking about?" Marcus felt his world tilt. "What do you mean?" "You were meant to be a sacrifice," Alfredo's voice thundered. The crowd gasped, and the world around Marcus fell silent. "No!" Marcus's heart plummeted. "That's a lie." Doña Carmen's face drained of color. "It's true," she whispered, her voice cracking. "They wanted you, but I fought back, and I thought I could keep you safe. But what?" Marcus was on fire, with confusion and anger. "How could you let this happen?" Before she could respond, a surge of energy pulsed through the room again. But this time, it was dark, menacing. The lights flickered violently, plunging the lobby into momentary darkness, leaving silhouettes of shocked faces against the backdrop of chaos. Then, just as abruptly, the lights returned, but not before a chilling revelation took center stage. A figure loomed in the entrance, silhouetted against the light. A woman clad in black, holding an ornate dagger that glinted like a fallen star. "Enough of this charade," she shouted. Her voice rang with authority, and for a moment, Marcus felt a cold sweat break out across his brow. He recognized her. It was someone from the Bautista family, from the shadows of his childhood, someone he'd never wanted to see again. "Elena, step back," Javier shouted, instinctively moving to shield his daughter. "What do you want?" Elena yelled. "I'm here for what's mine." The woman smirked, gaze locking onto Marcus. "Who are you?" Marcus demanded, voice steadier than he felt. "I'm your aunt," she replied, as if the words were a spell unraveling everything he believed. "And I've come to claim you, Marcus. Your destiny is entwined with the Bautista legacy, and it's time for you to accept it." The air thickened with tension. Whispers tore through the crowd again. "Destiny?" Marcus echoed, feeling like he was drowning. "Yes," she said, stepping closer. "And it's time for you to choose. Align with your true family, or destroy yourself fighting against it." As she raised the dagger, glinting under the fluorescent lights, Marcus felt everything shift. The ground beneath him trembled. The reality he thought he understood was splintering, revealing dark, hidden fractures beneath. He turned to his mother, her face a mask of terror and intermittent hope. "Please, Marcus, you must." But just then, time seemed to freeze. The world spun, and with a flick of her wrist, the woman sent the dagger spiraling toward him. The world around him fractured again, and as he flinched, unsure if he was ready for the truth, he could feel the shadows closing in. Every secret, every betrayal, threatened to swallow him whole. What would he choose? Would he embrace the darkness, or fight for light? The world around Marcus fractured again. As he flinched, unsure if he could face the truth, the sharp sound of the dagger slicing through the air filled his ears. Time slowed. He held his breath, seeing the glint of metal aimed straight at him. Then everything blurred. A body lunged. The dagger veered off course, a whoosh of air whipping past him. The crowd gasped collectively, eyes wide as realization dawned. It was Maria. She had thrown herself in front of him, arms outstretched. "No!" Marcus screamed. The dagger struck her in the side, but with a surprising grace, she twisted and fell to the ground instead of crumpling. "Mama!" Marcus cried, dropping to his knees beside her, his heart in his throat. "Why? Why did you do that?" Maria's breath came in shallow gasps. Her eyes glazed, but sharp as she met his gaze. "To protect you," she choked out. "We can't let them take you, Marcus." Elena rushed forward, white as a ghost, her hands trembling. "Somebody help!" The crowd swirled with chaos. people stepping back, terrified and confused. "Get an ambulance," someone shouted from the crowd, but panic bubbled up, drowning out any voice of reason. Marcus cradled Maria, tears stinging his eyes. "Stay with me. Just hold on." He pressed his hand over the wound, blood seeping through his fingers. Hot and vivid, everything was blurring. The reality he knew shattered further. But as her eyes fluttered, something flickered in Maria's gaze. Fear and determination intertwined. "Marcus," she whispered, "there's more you need to know, not just about us." A wave of urgency shot through his veins as the woman in black recoiled, her dagger still glinting ominously. "No, no, no, this can't be," she said, backing away, her confidence cracking. "What do you mean?" Marcus's voice quivered, feeling as if he were standing on the edge of a cliff. "What's happening?" "I think," Maria gasped, breathless, "I think you need to learn your true place. You're more than you know, more than they say." Elena, wide-eyed, turned to her father. "Javier, this is madness! We need to stop this!" But Javier stood frozen, horror etched on his features. "I didn't..." Suddenly, the crowd shifted as Alfredo surged through again, this time holding a small box, ornate, engraved with family symbols, Marcus recognized from the Bautista estate. "You must understand," he shouted, catching everyone's attention. "Look," he continued, flipping it open to reveal documents, pictures, and old, faded letters. "This holds the connections, the secrets that bind your families, the truth about the pact and what it means for all of you." Just then, the contents of the box shimmered, a light spilling out that grabbed everyone, blinding them momentarily. When Marcus regained sight, he could see whispers of shadowy figures draped around him, families intertwined across generations, stories playing out before his eyes. Then the darkness pulled back, revealing a scene that sent a chill through Marcus's core. The figures were familiar, people from his life, intertwined with the Bautista lineage. Faces flickered, his mother's youth, Javier's past, and then a new figure appeared, one cloaked in shadows, holding a baby in their arms. "No," Marcus gasped, the blood draining from his face. "What is this?" Alfredo stepped forward, his eyes fierce. "That baby is you, Marcus. The child of a long-lost secret, the union of power, a claim no one knows about until now." The air crackled with unspoken connections, and realization fell like a hammer on the crowd. All shouting and chaos fell quiet. Each person held their breath. "Why didn't you tell me?" he whispered, looking at Doña Carmen, who was trembling, her face pale. "I didn't know," she cried, tears spilling over, but shock and fear cast shadows over her features. "I thought it was better to protect you from everything that's coming." The revelation spun in Marcus's mind. Who was he really? The truth erupted like a volcano, threatening to consume them all. And the dagger, the betrayal. Just then, a chilling laugh cut through the silence, a voice dripping with ice. The woman in black spoke. "It's too late now. The truth binds you, and trust me, Marcus. The past is not finished with you yet." An electric charge hung in the air, blurring the line between allies and enemies. Marcus felt the ground quaking beneath him, propelling him forward into the unknown. Would he step into the lineage handed down to him, or fight against the darkness that threatened to pull him under? All eyes were on him, each person waiting for his next move, and the weight of generations rested on his shoulders. What would he choose? Marcus felt the weight of the crowd, all eyes locked on him, as he grappled with the truth unfurling before him. Could it be that everything he believed about his family, his identity, was built on lies? "Your destiny is entwined with the Bautista legacy," echoed in his mind, mixing with Maria's labored breaths as she lay bleeding at his side. He could scarcely process it. The world felt like it was fracturing, splitting into pieces he couldn't grasp. "Marcus," Elena's panicked voice cut across the chaos. She stared at him, urgency swirling in her eyes. "You have to choose. We need to help her." But before he could respond, the woman in black stepped closer, a menacing smile twisting her lips. "You really think it's that easy? It's not. This is just the beginning." The crowd stirred, whispers like an angry swarm. Panic engulfed the room. "Stop," Alfredo barked, holding the open box still towards Marcus. "Look, this is the key." Suddenly, the contents inside shimmered again, brighter and brighter, lighting up their faces like searchlights in the dark. But then, something shifted in the atmosphere, heavy and electric. The woman laughed softly. "You have no idea what you're playing with." As if on cue, Marcus felt the ground shake beneath him, a tremor that rattled the very foundations of the building. Everyone lost their balance, hands flailing, voices rising in confusion and fear. Then, out of nowhere, lights exploded in the lobby. An enormous flash filled the air, blinding everyone momentarily. Dizziness washed over Marcus, the world spinning like a carousel gone wrong. When the light dimmed, reality twisted around him. The crowd was still, faces frozen in disbelief. He looked up, and a figure emerged from the shadows, stepping into the flickering light. It was a young boy, no more than 10 years old, with wide eyes and ragged clothes. He stood in front of the woman in black, trembling, yet somehow profound in his presence. "Stop," he shouted, voice shaking but resilient. "What's happening isn't what you think." The room fell into stunned silence, everyone's eyes darting from the boy to the woman, then back to Marcus, confusion tightening the air. "Who is this?" Marcus whispered, his heart racing. The boy took a step forward. I'm your brother," he stammered, eyes glistening with unshed tears. Silence shattered like glass. Marcus felt his chest tighten, his heart skipping a beat. A brother? Another secret buried? "Marcus, no! That's impossible!" Maria struggled to rise, pain etched across her face, but Alfredo leaned closer to the boy with an expression of recognition. "It's true. He is your twin, born on the same night, part of the pact. You both possess a power that connects your families in ways you can't imagine." The crowd gasped, emotions cycling through shock and disbelief. "What?" Marcus murmured, his mind stretching to take in this revelation. The boy took a shaky breath, the words tumbling out before he could stop them. "They wanted to separate us, to keep you safe, but to use me. I didn't. I couldn't let it happen." "No!" the woman shrieked, stepping back in horror. "You shouldn't be here." Everything shifted again, the dizzying weight of secrets overwhelming. Marcus blinked, struggling between the reality of his mother and now his brother. Truths once hidden surged forth like a dam bursting. "Marcus, you have to believe me," the boy pleaded, voice quaking. "Mom never wanted to abandon you. She's protected you from the truth." "Why?" The words slipped out, so raw and full of confusion. "Because of what lies ahead," the boy spoke, glancing over his shoulder, voice urgent. "The loyalty and blood shared will lead to a reckoning. They come for those like us." The energy in the room shifted, anticipation crackling like electric air. The stakes had skyrocketed, shifting the course of everything Marcus thought he understood. What do we do?" he stammered, feeling the ground quake beneath him again. But before anyone could reply, the lobby doors burst open, a squad of law enforcement storming in. "Freeze! Put your hands up!" they shouted, surrounding them, weapons drawn. And in that fast unraveling moment, Marcus realized everything was about to change. What would happen now? Would they spread the truth, or would secrets swallow them whole? The sound of shouts echoed through the lobby, a cacophony of chaos as law enforcement surrounded them. Marcus could see the tension on everyone's faces, fear and uncertainty rippling through the crowd like a wave. He turned to the boy, his twin, whose wide eyes were dark with understanding. "Stay behind me," Marcus shouted, instinctively stepping in front of Maria. The moment felt surreal. A script he had never dreamed was written for him. He glanced at Doña Carmen, who looked pale, caught between the urgency of the moment and the weight of lost truths. "Don't move," commanded one officer, gun drawn and trembling slightly. "Put your hands up." Maria grimaced, her hands still pressed on her side. "This is not how it was supposed to be," she whispered, nearly inaudible above the noise. But before anyone could respond, something incredible happened. The boy stepped forward into the light, summoning an unexpected courage. "Wait, you can't take him. He's one of us." Every eye fell on him. Disbelief spread like wildfire. "Get back!" another officer shouted. But the boy didn't falter. "It's true. There's so much more to this. The pact, it's been twisted." His voice rang out, albeit trembling. "We're all part of something bigger than money or power." "What are you talking about?" A voice came from the back, cutting through the charged air. It was Javier, his expression now a mix of confusion and rage. "This is madness." But then the women in black let out a laugh, sharp and cold. "Little boy, you have no idea what you're saying." She took a step forward, dagger raised. "No, you can't," Marcus shouted, feeling his heart race. Suddenly, the doors burst open again, this time with a violent force, slamming against the walls. A new figure rushed in, older, with a familiar stance. It was Rosa, the family's old matriarch. She moved with a strength that matched the storm brewing around them. "Stop!" she yelled, voice slicing through the tension. "This isn't what it seems." Gasps traveled through the onlookers. Everyone was frozen, staring at the swirling mess of anger, fear, and chaos. Rosa turned to Marcus, urgency in her eyes. "You need to listen to me. It's time for the truth." "Truth?" Marcus echoed, still clutching Maria, terror gripping him. "What truth?" Before Rosa could answer, another crashing sound filled the air. This time, it came from the box Alfredo still held. An explosion of brilliant light erupted, illuminating the entire lobby as the pieces scattered. Old letters, documents. Pictures flew everywhere, like confetti, swirling in a whirlwind. And then a voice rang out from the light. It was powerful, echoing, and chilling. "Enough!" Everyone turned toward the source of the sound, and there he was, an older man, sharply dressed, who had emerged from the brilliant glow. But he was no stranger. It was Don Francisco Bautista, Elena's grandfather, thought to have died years ago under mysterious circumstances. "Grandfather?" Elena whispered, the word trembling on her lips. "Surprise," he chuckled darkly, stepping forward, and the atmosphere shifted dramatically. "I've been watching, waiting for the right moment." He scanned the room, eyes glinting with secrets. "And the time has come to reclaim what's rightfully ours." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. "You've been alive this whole time?" Javier's voice trembled, disbelief coloring his features. "Yes, Javier. And now," he paused, locking eyes with Marcus. "You are the key to it all. You've stirred the pot. Those powers, that pact, your existence upsets the balance, and I intend to set it right." "Set what right?" Marcus felt the ground slip beneath him. "You're threatening my family." "Your family?" Don Francisco laughed, a harsh sound that resonated in the silence. "Your family is far from simple. You have no idea of the history that intertwines us all. The betrayals, the blood debts." Everything felt like it was collapsing in on itself, revealing a dark underbelly of lies and half-truths. "Marcus," Maria cried, struggling against him to get up. "You need to take charge, fight back." But as he turned to face the room, uncertainty flooded him. Voices swirled around him, the future hanging uncertain. In that moment, everything seemed on a knife's edge. Would he stand with his family against the darkness? Or would he join the shadows lurking within, revealing yet more secrets about who he truly was? And what if the real threat was closer than he ever imagined? "I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that,"